everyone, we're back in the craft room, and I had found this great stick a couple years ago, and I didn't really know what to do with it, and I think I finally decided, and I've washed it and I've dried it out, so it's all good to go. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some birds, and I'm going to have them, like maybe 3 of them or 5 of them sitting along, and they're going to be pretty small, and they're going to be sitting along this log or this stick. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So all you need to do is find a stick that has a little bit of character. And what we're going to start with is some tin foil. And what you're going to do is use this as your armature. And you're going to mold it into the shape of a bird. And I never really know how much foil to use, so I just keep adding it as I go. And then you just keep molding it and squishing it until you end up with a bird the size that you want. And they don't all have to be exactly the same, but I want them all to be a similar size. Like here's one that I have already, and I did a better job on this one with the tail. So take another piece of foil and add it to this one. You can kind of wrap it around, work it into a tail. So then you have a couple of birds. And squish it as much as you want and make it as smooth as you want. The fewer big, huge lumps, the better. But you're going to have some, and it doesn't matter because we will be covering it with clay. If you're going to need, and this I just took from a wire hanger, an old wire hanger, and you want to put those are going to be the legs. And then I'm going to use some wire that I still have left over, and I'm just going to mold that into a point. And then I'm going to insert that right into where the face is going to be, and like this is a really long beak, so I'm going to cut that down and stick it in there, and that will give it just a little bit of strength. And I'm going to take my hot glue gun. I'm going to throw a little hot glue on there, poke this stuff in there again, and that'll help keep it in place. And then I'm going to figure out where I want the legs to be, stick those in. And then throw a little hot glue in there. So that's my first bird. Now I'm going to be working with a paper clay, which is one of my favorite clays to work with. And normally I'll keep it right in a plastic bag right from the beginning, just so it doesn't dry out. But this is really easy to work with, and it's a air dry clay. So you don't have to do any baking, you just need to have a little patience. And what you're going to do is just cover these birds with the paper clay. And you don't need to have it super thick, all you need to do is have it cover the tin foil. So keep covering it, and you're going to do the same to the head. Go right over the beak. That wire is going to give the clay something to hold on to and just give it a little bit of strength, so it would be less easy to break it off. Okay, now's a chance. You can smooth it if you want, and you can take, dip your finger in some water and smooth it. You can leave it a little bit wrinkly. Anything you want to do. Now's the time to do it. But I'm going to, on each side, I'm going to give it a little extra clay, just to make it look like wings. So you can take a little water and it'll smooth everything right in. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Let's get the stick again, and I think 3 birds, based on the size that this turned out to be, will be enough. So I'm going to set him aside to dry, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick his legs in some styrofoam and just let them sit overnight to fully dry. The birds had dried, and I started painting them. Now normally what I would do is I would have taken the the legs out and spray painted them in the garage, but it's so cold here I can't do that. So what I did was I just put a metal primer on it, painted that on there. They come in little bottles, and I'm just starting to paint the birds now. And what I'm going to do is, I wanted to do like a burnt umber, but I didn't have any, so I had a brown iron oxide, and I mixed that with black, and it's coming out to like a really dark brown, which is what I want for the birds, because we're going to do a crackle finish on this. I'm back to do the next step. Now the wood log here that they're going to be sitting on, I did just a matte varnish on it just to kind of protect the wood a little bit, but it doesn't give it any sheen, and I'm going to put that aside, but we're going to come back to that. My next step is, here are the birds, and I'm going to put this crackle medium on, and what that's going to do is it's going to create a layer, and then when it dries, and it says about 15 to 40 minutes depending on your weather conditions, you leave it sit, and then we're going to put the next coat of paint on there, and then as that coat of paint dries, all of a sudden you get these great crackles on the finish. So we're going to do like maybe an ivory or a parchment color on top, but we're going to put the crackle on first. I'm just going to take the crackle medium, and they say to do about a medium coat, so not necessarily too thin or too thick, but just put a good coat on there. Make sure you get it everywhere. The only place that I'm not going to do it is the legs and the beak, because I'm just going to leave the beak to be that color as a contrasting color. And the color palette I'm going with on this is pretty neutral, and you can certainly customize the color to fit your decor. If you want something funky, go funky, and you can have as much fun with this as you want. Now I'm going to set this aside to dry for about, I'm going to guess about 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm going to do the same with the other birds. Once the birds are tacky dry but not completely dry, I'm going to take my parchment colored paint, and I'm just going to brush it right over. And the only part I'm really going to be careful of is going to be around the beak, because I want the beak to stay dark. So just kind of paint it on. You want to avoid over brushing, because then you lose some of the crackles, but you do want to get it covered. So kind of need to find your happy medium there. And then as this dries, it's going to start to crackle. As you can see, look at it. Look at it crackling, how nice that looks. And let it just continue to crackle. And move on to the next bird and keep going. Now that I have the birds all painted and crackled and they're dry, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back of the skewer stick, and I'm going to just make eyes on each of the birds. And it's just very, very simple. And there are the eyes. So you're going to let that dry, and then you're going to decide what kind of a finish you want. You can do a high gloss finish, or a matte finish, or a satin. And I haven't quite decided which I'm going to do yet. I decided to go with a matte finish on here, since the wood is a flat color or a flat finish. I thought they should be too. Once they're dry and I've decided where I want them on my wood piece, I kind of have them on the styrofoam roughly where I want them to be. But I want this guy in the center, and all I'm going to do is place them on here, kind of eyeball if that's where I want them, and then I'm going to make a mark with pencil, because you won't be able to see that even if I don't cover it all, where I want to drill the holes. And then I just have a small drill bit, and you want to put on your safety glasses and just drill a couple of holes. Then once you get the holes drilled, you can slide them right into there. Once everything's dry and you have the holes drilled, you can put a little bit of glue, little dab of glue into the holes, just to secure the birds on there just a little bit more. And when you're done, you have this really cute sculpture. And I hope you like it. Hope you give it a try. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. We will see you next time. Happy crafting, and don't forget to stop by www.craftclatch.com, and I have directions for this and all my other crafts on there as well. So if you ever have any questions, you can probably find the answer there. And thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.